Hello and welcome to the Slovak Snapshots podcast, created by Aktuality.sk. My name is Orislav Poliak and I'm bringing you the most captivating and important stories from across Slovakia. Each week we'll dive into the headlines that matter, from breaking news to heartwarming stories. So, whether you're local or a global listener interested in Slovakia, we got you covered. It is February 24 and you're listening to the Slovak Snapshots podcast. 6 years since the murder of journalist Ján Kuciak. On Wednesday, February 21st, 6 years mark the tragic anniversary of the murder of journalist Ján Kuciak and his fiancee Martina Kušnírová. In remembrance, the initiative For a Decent Slovakia organized commemorative gatherings across 32 cities worldwide, 23 within Slovakia and 9 internationally. The date, February 21st, 2018, is etched in the history of the Slovak Republic as a stark reminder of the day when Ján Kuciak, an investigative journalist working for the Aktuality.sk news portal, was brutally murdered in his home in Veľká Mača. 6 years on, the case remains partially unresolved. While the hitman, the driver and mediators between the murderers and the mastermind were convicted, the identity of the orchestrator behind the crime, widely believed to be the conscientious businessman Marián Kočner, has not been officially confirmed. This heinous act triggered an unprecedented public outcry in Slovakia. The initiative For a Decent Slovakia organized protests nationwide, rallying over 120,000 people both domestically and abroad. This mobilization became the largest demonstration of public dissent since the Velvet Revolution of 1989, which led to the fall of communism in Czechoslovakia. The protesters demanded an end to the era dominated by the so-called Our People, a term referring to a network of politically connected individuals benefiting from corruption. High-profile demands included the resignation of the Prime Minister, the Interior Minister, the Chief of Police, the Special Prosecutor, and called for early elections. These protests eventually led to the significant political changes, including the resignation of Prime Minister Robert Fico, replaced by Peter Pellegrini. Interior Minister Robert Kaliňák and Police Chief Tibor Gašpar also stepped down amid the public pressure. The social demand for justice and anti-corruption reforms drove Igor Matovič to victory in the following elections, symbolizing a fight against systemic corruption. However, Robert Fico, then in opposition, became more radicalized, even making provocative statements regarding the Kuciak case. "We will once say who killed Kuciak. Everyone will be shocked when we tell who really killed Kuciak," Fico screamed from the stage at a rally in Nitra. 6 years after the murder, Robert Fico has returned as Prime Minister, pushing for a controversial amendments to the criminal code that could potentially pardon crimes from his political era. The initiative For a Decent Slovakia reflects on the anniversary, expressing a sentiment that, despite the initial unity for justice and decency, little has changed. They highlight ongoing attacks against journalists and accuse politicians of targeting media figures, undermining the rule of law, and threatening the young democracy of Slovakia. Memorial gatherings took place in various Slovak cities, including Bratislava, Košice, Banská Bystrica, and internationally in locations like Luxembourg, Prague, Paris or Vancouver, demonstrating the global resonance of the fight for justice and the rule of law. The biggest farmers' protest in the history of Slovakia. Farmers organized protests in several Slovak cities on Thursday this week. Members of the Slovak Chamber of Agriculture and Food, SPPK, thus joined the European protest of farmers and food producers to express their dissatisfaction with the decisions of the European Union. 4,000 farmers went to the protest with more than 2,200 pieces of agriculture equipment, while the action also included blocking 2 border crossings. The Association of Employers Unions and Associations and the Republican Union of Employers, as well as the Association of Bakers, Candy Makers and Pasta Makers, also expressed their support for the protest. In Bratislava, the convoy of tractors stopped in front of the representation of the European Commission, where SPPK presented its demands and handed them over to the representation. Farmers are protesting against the European Union's strict environmental restrictions, growing bureaucracy, and the liberalization of the import of agri-commodities from the third countries, and are demanding the faster payment of direct payments. At the same time, they express a fundamental position. They want to devote themselves to agriculture, not bureaucracy. Protests also affected the Czech-Slovak border crossing Hodonín-Holíč, where farmers with tractors stopped traffic. Farmers from Hungary and Poland also came to express their support. The goal of the protest is to draw attention to the bureaucratic burden and problems associated with the import of cheaper goods from countries outside the EU. According to the executive vice president of SPPK, Andrej Gajdoš, the farmers joined the protest because long negotiations with the European Commission didn't bring results. The main reasons for the protests are bureaucracy, the consequences of the Green Deal for Europe, and imports of crops from countries outside the European Union. The coach of the Slovak national football team has a second job. The announcement of Francesco Calzona as a head coach of Italian champions SSC Napoli was an unprecedented move that caught the attention of football enthusiasts around the world. This unique dual role represents a significant challenge and a huge opportunity for a Calzona, who has already made his mark in his first game for Napoli. Calzona's debut on the Napoli bench was nothing short of dramatic, as the team faced FC Barcelona in a Champions League match that ended in a draw. The game, which took place at the iconic Diego Armando Maradona Stadium, showcased Calzona's tactical acumen and his ability to inspire his team against one of Europe's football giants. The draw against Barcelona not only serves as a proof of Calzona's coaching skill, but also sets a positive tone for his tenure at the Italian club. In his pioneering role, Francesco Calzona demonstrated remarkable leadership and strategic abilities as a head coach of the Slovak national football team, which led to a significant turnaround in their performance on the international stage. Under his leadership, the team showed a newfound unity and tactical discipline, qualities that have been key in their successful campaign to qualify for Euro 2024. Calzona's approach has been characterized by a mix of defensive solidity and creative attack and play, exploiting his team's strengths to produce results against formidable opposition. His ability to inspire self-confidence in a team and his winning mentality revived Slovak football and brought a sense of optimism and expectation among fans and players. The qualification to Euro 2024 under Calzona was sensational and meant a historic success for Slovak football. The team's journey has been highlighted by key wins and resilient performances that have exceeded expectations.
Never boring Slovakia.
Did you know that the only Bank of Love is in Slovakia? The Bank of Love in Banská Štiavnica not only hides the longest love poem in the world called Marina, but people can save objects here that remind them of their loved ones, friends, family, but also pets. Be it photos, letters, wedding rings or movie tickets since their first date. It is open to people from all over the world. Slovak Bank of Love even made it to the front page of the prestigious American newspaper, the New York Times, last week. Unfortunately, Bank of Love caught fire last year and burned down. It is still closed to this day. And there you have it, another the Slovak Snapshots podcast in the books. We hope you enjoyed this weekly adventure through the newscape of Slovakia. Remember, knowledge is power, so go ahead and impress your friends at the next gathering with your newfound facts. But hey, don't take yourself too seriously, life's too short not to enjoy a good laugh. We'll be back next week with more stories that will keep you informed and entertained. Until then, stay curious, stay informed, and keep sharing those lovely smiles.